Welcome to the Dragon Ball Z Infinite World Iceberg. If you don't know what an iceberg is pretty much a giant trivia sheet. Starting all the way at the top is the most commonly known facts about a topic, and moving all the way down to the bottom are the least commonly known facts about a topic. For today, we of course have the Dragon Ball Z Infinite World Iceberg, and this iceberg is of course made by me, so we have a lot of entries to cover today. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Beam Struggles. Beam Struggles are referring to the cut feature from Budokai 3 that unfortunately did not make it into Infinite World because, of course, it was cut, those being Beam Struggles. Beam Struggles in Budokai 3 would occur if two characters use beam attack at the same exact time. However, in Infinite World, if these same conditions are met, a beam struggle will not commence. I could not tell you why. For the love of everything, why Beam Struggles, the most iconic thing, or one of the most iconic things in Dragon Ball, were cut from Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. I have no idea why. Budokai 4. Budokai 4 is referring to the fan-requested game of legend Dragon Ball Z Budokai 4. We all know Tenkaichi 4 was announced in recent times, however Budokai 4 unfortunately has not had the same amount of luck, though that may be in due part to the fact that Budokai 4 already exists in Infinite World. On the back of Dragon Ball Z Infinite World's box, it says the best of the Budokai series, and this technically is the fourth installment in the PlayStation 2 Budokai series. So maybe we had Dragon Ball Z Budokai 4 all along. Minigames. Minigames are referring to the game's story mode and the fact you can partake in many minigames throughout all of Z. For example, in the Saiyan Saga, you can run across Snake Way as Goku, and after you complete the game's campaign, you can run across Snake Way with many other characters as well. Another example is in the Cell Saga, you can play a minigame for the Hyperbolic Time Chamber of Goku vs. Gohan and Vegeta vs. Trunks of a quick time event of them sparring. These are awesome features that really break up the monotony of just going from fight to fight to fight, like in Budokai 3 with really no substance in between. This is a very nice breath of fresh air, and all the minigames are unique to each other. Difficulty. Difficulty is referring to the most notorious part of Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, the difficulty. Even on the easiest setting, the AI in this game completely curb stomp every other AI level in these more recent games like Xenoverse 2 and Fighters. The AI know cancel combos, they will combo you for days, they will absolutely destroy you in combat if you don't know what you're doing, even on the easiest difficulty. On the higher difficulty, do you really need me to explain this? World Tournament. World Tournament is referring to yet again another cut feature from Budokai 3, the World Tournament. This is the first Budokai game on the PlayStation 2 to not have a World Tournament. Budokai 1, 2, and 3 had it. Infinite World does not have it for some unexplainable reason. I have a theory that Beam Struggles and World Tournament and stuff like that were cut out due to budgetary issues, as I have some more points to prove that theory later on, but I cannot be sure as I cannot find any information on this. Cutscenes. Cutscenes are referring to the game's story mode yet again, and the fact they brought cutscenes back from Budokai 1. In Budokai 1, from every single fight, there would be multiple cutscenes that would play during, before, and after fights. In Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, cutscenes do make an appearance, however, they're not as common, but the ones that are there capture all the majorly important plot moments, so that's really good. And they all look really nice as well. Dragon Rush removal is referring to the very infamous feature from Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, the Dragon Rush. The Dragon Rush was pretty much a rock, paper, scissors cinematic that pretty much guaranteed free damage if you got lucky, or guaranteed extreme damage to yourself if you got unlucky. This is a very controversial mechanic. While it had amazing cinematics, unfortunately the gameplay implications it had were very dire. Whether it was a good thing or a bad thing it was removed is up to personal players' opinion. Fixed Lightning Aura. Fixed Lightning Aura is referring to the Lightning Aura of Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3 being changed back to blue. In Budokai 2 this was not an issue, in Budokai 3 it was broken, and then in Infinite World it was fixed, partially. As Super Saiyan 2 Goku and 3 Goku and characters like that do have blue aura, however for some reason Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks still has yellow aura. I don't know why that happened, though it most likely was an oversight by the developer. Fighter's Road. Fighter's Road is referring to Discount Dragon Arena Fighter's Road. In Dragon Arena, you could level up characters and make your character really feel like your own. However, Fighter's Road throws all that out the window for just a watered-down version of the game's story mode. You run around the hub world and you just fight enemies as whoever character you want. Even the character you pick doesn't get a unique character model in the overworld, it just is Goku again, which is a reused model from Budokai 2, might I add. Lose to Win Mission. Lose to Win Mission is referring to one of the story missions inside the Buu Saga where you play as Android 18 and you fight her during the World Tournament stage. You actually need to get knocked out to win the mission, and if you knock out Hercule, you lose the mission. This is the only mission in the game's campaign like this, though there's a huge exploit you can do with this. Equipping the capsule that greatly increases the amount of Zenny you get, and playing this mission on the highest difficulty over and over, allows you to easily farm Zenny, as all you need to do is get knocked out. And you can set it to the highest difficulty, and the higher the difficulty is, the more money you get, and therefore you're able to farm Zenny extremely easy. This was most likely an oversight, as I don't feel like farming 98,000 Zenny per run in literally under a minute was intended, though I could be wrong. Removed ultimates. Removed ultimates are referring to ultimates like Warp Kamehameha, Final Flash, Special Beam Cannon, and Galactic Donut, among others, that were removed in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. This was due to the fact that Dragon Rushes were removed. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, these were just skill capsules, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, they were skill capsules, though these attacks were chained to the end of Dragon Rushes. But because Dragon Rushes were removed, all these ultimates are gone as well, which really sucks, because Warp Kamehameha and Final Flash were absolutely badass ultimates, and it sucks they're gone. No new stages. No new stages, referring to the fact that Infinite World did not add a single stage from Budokai 3. Budokai 3 added a ton of stages from Budokai 2, and Budokai 2 added a ton of stages from Budokai 1. However, Infinite World added no stages from Budokai 3. Shin Budokai had a ton of new stages this game could have taken assets from, but unfortunately they did it for some reason. Improved skill tray. Improved skill tray is referring to this game's customization system and the fact that the skill tray has been greatly improved from Budokai 1, 2, and 3. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, you can only equip 7 capsules, and for characters like Goku who had 5 transformations, you can see how that would be very obnoxious. However, in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, you can equip all the characters' super and ultimate attack, you can equip an item, and you can also equip 4 support capsules. And the support capsules in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World can be leveled up as well. Doing this allows you to make so many more build ideas with characters, and you can really make your fighter feel like your own. It really sucks this skill tray wasn't in Budokai 3, because with that game's Dragon Arena and this skill tray, I can only imagine the possibilities you can make with characters. Two throws. Two throws referring to the Infinite World exclusive mechanic that no other game to my knowledge has actually replicated, and the fact there's 2 throws. Pressing punch and guard will of course let your character do their signature throw. For Goku, it's the dragon throw, but pressing guard and blast will allow your character to do a second throw in which your character will knock your enemy to the ground and start throwing ki blasts at them. Or in very rare circumstances, the character will grab the enemy and start beating the crap out of them in a auto combo. No pick destroyed stage. No pick destroyed stage is referring to the game's versus mode and the fact you cannot pick a destroyed stage anymore. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 and Budokai 2 and Budokai 1 for that matter, if you go onto the character select screen, pick your characters, and then go to the stage select screen and then press, instead of pressing A or X to pick a stage, you press B or circle to pick the stage instead. Doing this will allow you to load an alternate variation of the stage, most commonly a destroyed variation of the stage from an ultimate attack. You could load onto the stage from the get-go and set up some very cool matches. In Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, this feature was removed for some reason. I cannot tell you why, though I do believe it is an oversight from the developers, as I will get into later. Bad Skill Viewer. Bad Skill Viewer is referring to this game's combo list. If you remember in Budokai 3's The Greatest Hits edition, this combo list was added into the game. This combo list is in Infinite World as well, which is of course nice, though unlike Budokai 3, which has a super list and a combo list, in Infinite World they merge the two together. But there's a huge problem. Of course you can scroll through all your combos, which is great and all, but there's a huge problem. You can't see your super or ultimate attacks unless you scroll to the bottom. You might be thinking just to press up to put yourself at the bottom of the list, but that doesn't work. You have to scroll all the way down every single time you want to look at one of your super or ultimates. This is made worse by the fact that the scroll speed is obnoxiously slow, and for some reason they never sped it up. I have no idea why, and it makes no sense whatsoever, but thankfully there's a silver lining, and that silver lining is there's no blue capsules like in Budokai 2 where you need to do inputs to use certain skills, so that's very nice. GT Vegeta. GT Vegeta is referring to the fact that this is one of 2 games that GT Vegeta is playable in, discounting of course mobile games. This being Infinite World, of course, and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is DLC. Other than that, you cannot play GT Vegeta in any other Dragon Ball games, minus Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Base GT Vegeta is only playable in this game and Xenoverse for some very strange reason, which really sucks because GT Vegeta is awesome. 100% accurate ultimate. 100% accurate ultimates are referring to newly added characters from Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 into Infinite World, being characters like Super Baby 2, Super 17, Pikkon, and Janemba, whenever they use an ultimate attack, they don't actually have to go through the wager of offense and defense. Normally when you use an ultimate attack like the Spirit Bomb, for example, you'll do the ultimate and then Goku charges the Spirit Bomb, but then he'll throw it at the enemy. But during the time it's hitting the enemy, there's a mini game going on in which you need to press the bar at the highest number in order to get the bar filled up the most. Whoever has the bar filled up the most wins the wager. And if the offense wins, it of course plays the attacker doing a special animation destroying the enemy. And if the defense wins, it plays a unique animation of the character defending. However, these 100% accurate ultimates are added in because of these new characters that were not in Budokai 3 being added in the Infinite World, and characters like Super Baby 2 don't need to go through this wager. And because of this, characters like Super Baby 2 can actually destroy enemies by spamming ultimates over and over and over again. Literally, all you do is press up blast, and you can literally get a free 2,000 damage. The AI in later story missions love spamming these against you, which really sucks. And I guarantee you the reason they did not add a wager for these ultimates is because they were too lazy to make animations for defense. Special Beam Cannon / Final Flash. Special Beam Cannon / Final Flash are referring to, remember the removed ultimates entry? Well, Special Beam Cannon and Final Flash are not exactly removed. Special Beam Cannon is actually an ultimate in this game, however it is no longer a cutscene like it was in Budokai 3. It's now just like a death beam looking attack. A keen eye will realize that this Special Beam Cannon animation is ripped right out of Shin Budokai and Burst Limit. This is because Infinite World was built over Shin Budokai's assets, and they just had this attack laying around, and because Dragon Rush didn't return, and Special Beam Cannon being a Dragon Rush Ultimate, they just made the Special Beam Cannon from that game an Ultimate for Piccolo, so they didn't actually have to bring back the original Special Beam Cannon, which really sucks because the Special Beam Cannon from Budokai 3 looks miles better than this. Though it should be mentioned that Special Beam Cannon is unbelievably overpowered. Final Flash is a bit different though. Final Flash, like Special Beam Cannon, was a Dragon Rush Ultimate, however in Shin Budokai specifically, it is actually not an ultimate attack, it's a super attack for Vegeta. But weirdly in Infinite World, base Vegeta from Cell Saga does not get access to the Final Flash. You know who does though? GT Vegeta. GT Vegeta gets access to the Final Flash as his second super attack, and who else? Super Baby 2, but not Vegeta for some reason, and they're only super attacks and not ultimate attacks. It makes no sense. It's very strange, and Final Flash isn't even a laser, it's more like a wave? I don't really know what to call this, but I can tell you right now it's not a beam and it's not nearly as cool as it was in Budokai 3. It's still good as in the game though, I suppose. Scouterless Vegeta. Scouterless Vegeta is referring to the game's story mode and the fact that Scouterless Vegeta actually shows up in cutscenes. Normally in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, you cannot play as Vegeta in his Saiyan Saga outfit without a Scouter. This is because this Scouter Vegeta was ripped right out of Budokai 3 when ported to Infinite World. However, these cutscenes though don't use the in-game engine and are instead CGI of the characters, of course, acting out the story, and because of that, they could go a bit more crazy with the costumes, and because of that, that leads to characters like Scouterless Vegeta being shown in cutscenes, but when the game actually loads the fight, he has a Scouter on again. Very lazy how they couldn't just add an extra costume for Vegeta, or even an unplayable costume of Vegeta not having a Scouter, but hey, at least it exists in the cutscene, because Vegeta from the Saiyan Saga without a Scouter, oh man, he's badass. Reuse menu text. Reuse menu text is referring to Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3's menu text being reused in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. For example, if you hover over the story mode Dragon Universe, Goku will of course talk about how there's strong enemies out in the world. If you look at the same exact text in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, it's the same exact text from Budokai 3 with no changes whatsoever. The only difference is Goku doesn't talk. But that's not the only thing that's reused. Every single menu option and load and new game option, the text at the bottom of the screen is reused and ripped right out of Budokai 3. Except for Fighter's Road, because Fighter Road wasn't in Budokai 3, but that is just so lazy. And it sucks there's no new voice lines too. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Shin Budokai attacks. Shin Budokai attacks is referring to attacks, of course, like the Special Beam Cannon and Final Flash were ripped right from Shin Budokai, but those were ultimates in all Dragon Ball Z Budokai games. These Shin Budokai attacks are very, very rare circumstances where characters will get an ultimate where they don't need to actually act out a wager or get a guaranteed attack. For example, Cooler's base form has full power energy blast volley, in which you press up and blast on the control stick, and Cooler will start throwing beams out like crazy. The problem with these attacks are, while they do look pretty cool, they are extremely overpowered, and For example, you can spam the absolute crap out of Cooler's ultimate on anybody and get insane amounts of damage, especially against AI who don't know what they're doing and just end up running into the attack. Which I suppose is a good way to counter the crazy difficulty, though spamming ultimates won't work on higher difficulties. It should be noted these Shin Budokai attacks for characters like Kid Gohan, Raditz, and Cooler base form were added so every single character in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World actually has an ultimate attack. You will not find a single character in the game without an ultimate attack. Raditz Gi Goku. Raditz Gi Goku is referring to the fact that in the game Saiyan Saga cutscenes, Goku, when he's fighting Raditz in the cutscenes, does not have his correct outfit on. He still has the blue undershirt and he still has his wristbands on and his boots. He does not actually have the correct outfit on, which is weird, because Scouterless Vegeta makes an appearance in the CGI cutscenes for the story mode, but they didn't make a new model for Goku in his Raditz Gi for some reason. Maybe because the jump from the cutscene to the game would have been too jarring on like Scouterless Vegeta, but it still is really weird how they went through the effort of adding a Scouterless Vegeta model but not a Raditz Gi Goku model. Path to Power. Path to Power is referring to GT Goku's second ultimate attack, Super Kamehameha. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, Kid Goku was actually a character, but when Infinite World came out, he was removed from the game. But weirdly, they actually gave GT Goku a homage to Dragon Ball Saga Goku. GT Goku's second ultimate is actually the Super Kamehameha from the Path to Power movie, which is really crazy, and it is one of the best looking ultimates in the game. It should also be noted, this is once again another 100% accurate ultimate. GT Goku has access to the Spirit Bomb that normal Goku from Budokai 3 had, and of course that has the Wager minigame, but the Super Kamehameha does not have the Wager minigame once again. I guarantee you it's because they were too lazy to add defense animations. Very sad, but at the very least this attack is so badass that it makes up for it. Kaioken Spirit Bomb. Kaioken Spirit Bomb is referring to a very strange oddity in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World that you can lock yourself out of being able to do the Kaioken Spirit Bomb. Normally in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, you can equip Goku's Kaioken transformation and the Spirit Bomb Ultimate. And as you remember in my Budokai 3 Iceberg, I talked about the fact that Goku does a unique Spirit Bomb when he does not have Super Saiyan equipped. In Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, this same Spirit Bomb with the Kaioken power-up can be performed. However, because of the way transformations work in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World and the fact that Goku's transformations have all been merged into one capsule, if you level up Goku's Transform capsule all the way up to level 3, where he's able to transform into Super Saiyan, Goku will no longer be able to do the base Spirit Bomb anymore. He will always do the Super Spirit Bomb. If you only have Goku's Transform capsule at level 2 where you can go Kaioken, Goku will actually be able to do the Kaioken Spirit Bomb. Though if you upgrade it to level 3, he won't be able to do the Kaioken Spirit Bomb anymore. This is of course an oversight because of the fact that if you have Transform on, you cannot of course turn off transformations. You will have all the transformations there no matter what, which I think is kind of dumb. They should allow us to level down capsules for story specific fights we can make in versus mode, but at the very least you can still use the base Spirit Bomb if you don't have any of Goku's Transform skills on and you just put on the Spirit Bomb, so you can still see the animation at least. Janemba's voice. Janemba's voice is referring to Janemba's weird voice in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. Janemba for some reason has the same voice as his fat counterpart from the movie. And all the other games. Janemba normally, when he's transformed in his Super Janemba form, has like, you know, the raspy demonic voice. However, he has his fat voice for some reason in Infinite World. I remember hearing that this is due to a translation error from the Japanese version, though I can't 100% confirm that because that did not happen in any other Dragon Ball game. And this isn't the first game Super Janemba appears in either. He appears in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, which came out before this. GT Vegeta Costume 3. GT Vegeta Costume 3 is referring to the fact that GT Vegeta's third costume is the only other non-Goku that can have a battle damage costume. Goku and Goku GT are the two characters in the game that can use battle damaged outfits, and this is of course because of the fact that in the game story mode, there's plenty of cutscenes featuring these models, and of course story specific fights like Goku versus Frieza on Namek where he has a destroyed outfit. They could not of course use him in his normal gi. Though for some reason though, they didn't give characters like Teen Gohan, Bardock, or any other characters like that destroyed outfit. But GT Vegeta for some reason does. He actually has an outfit where his outfit is a bit torn. So what's weird though is base Vegeta does not have this. You can kind of count Majin Scouter Vegeta and the fact one of his armor pads are broken, but that doesn't really count as a bit of a stretch. Though GT Vegeta having a destroyed outfit is very cool, and another reason why GT Vegeta is probably my favorite character in this game, though that's really hard to say because how awesome a lot of the characters in this game actually are. Super Saiyan 4 Goku wins screens. Super Saiyan 4 Goku wins screens is referring to the fact that Super Saiyan 4 Goku has two different iterations of his win screen. For normally, of course, Goku can transform into Super Saiyan 4 in his adult form, which you know his win screen. He puts his hand on his hips and he does that animation, or he just stands still and looks at the screen. However, GT Goku, when he was added into the game, he actually has a very unique win screen in which he looks at the screen and also puts his hand on his hips but does a different animation. Super Saiyan 4 Goku can of course do this animation because of the fact that GT Goku can transform into Super Saiyan 4. This makes it so that Super Saiyan 4 Goku has two different completely new sets of win screens. Though it should be noted, GT Goku, when Super Saiyan 4 and doing these new win screens, he actually has the same exact voice lines as adult Goku. But it is very cool to see Super Saiyan 4 Goku get some new animations in this game, because unfortunately Super Saiyan 4 Goku gets nothing new from Budokai 3 minus this new win screen. FSK Confusing Error. FSK Confusing Error is referring to Father-Son Kamehameha Confusing Error, and the fact that in the game's story mode, Gohan has a cutscene with Cell where he does the Father-Son Kamehameha. If you know the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games, you know Gohan does the Father-Son Kamehameha with two hands for some unexplainable reason. But what's even weirder though, in this game's cutscenes, he does it with one hand. But what's even more fucked up though, in the game itself, he does it with two. I cannot begin to explain why this is a problem that has not been fixed in Infinite World. It's probably because they were too lazy to make a new ultimate attack, though I could be wrong. At least the Father-Son Kamehameha looks good even with two hands in the game, although it is right from Budokai 2, but at least in the game story mode we have a correct iteration of the attack. Start Transformed. Start Transformed is referring to the game's story mode and the fact you can actually start transformed. Remember in Budokai 3, there was a very, very convoluted way to start transformed in very specific story fights, though in Infinite World, in many of the story fights, you actually start transformed. Like Goku versus Cell, Goku is a Super Saiyan, but in Budokai 3, he is not a Super Saiyan. What's more though, in the story mode when you start transformed, if you get your fatigue bar knocked all the way to the top, which is another new feature of Infinite World, normally you get sent back to your base form, though in these story fights, you actually stay as a Super Saiyan. So if you're Super Saiyan Goku, in Versus mode and you get your fatigue bar max, you get sent back to base form. But in story mode, if the same thing happened, you will actually stay as a Super Saiyan, which is really nice because Super Saiyan has a power boost from base form. Cell intro voice. Cell intro voice are referring to the fact that Cell's voice in his intro to battle is wrong. He uses a perfect form voice.
Well then, shall we begin?
This is because in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, Cell is only perfect in that game. But in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 and Infinite World, Cell is in his first form. GT Minigames. GT Minigames is referring to the fact that there are no minigames in the GT saga to speak of. None whatsoever. And I guarantee you this is due to budgetary problems. Another theory supporting that claim is the fact that in GT there's 7 fights. But in Boo, Cell, Frieza, and Saiyan, there's like 20 different fights. This is probably due to the fact that GT doesn't have as many characters in this game as Z, but that's another problem because they could obviously just conjure up some what-if fights, like in the Boo saga. There's also no cutscenes for Super 17, Baby, but only for Omega, and it's most likely due to budgetary issues, I would say. Hell Stage. Hell Stage is referring to the fact there is no Hell Stage in Infinite World. Despite being built off of Shin Budokai's engine, which has a Hell Stage, there is no Hell Stage in this game. This ties into the point the fact there were no new stages added into Infinite World, and most likely everything was just ported over from Budokai 3, and the shit that was added in was rushed. And that is no more apparent than the fact there was no new stages, and in fact they had a Hell Stage to pick from, but they just left it be. And in the special saga where you unlock Gogeta and Janemba, you fight on destroyed Earth of all stages. It's a cool twist, but it's the twist for all the wrong reasons, and the only reason it's a twist is because they were too lazy to make a new stage. Special Saga cutscenes. Special Saga cutscenes are referring to the fact there are no cutscenes whatsoever to speak of in the Special Saga. The Special Saga, for a untrained eye, is pretty much movies and specials of Z that are representative of characters inside of Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, like Bardock, Broly, and etc. For some reason, there's no cutscenes related to any of these moments. In GT, there's only one cutscene with Omega, and in Special Saga, there's none. There's literally none, and there should also be mentioned there's no minigames. Surprise, surprise. Once again, this supports my theory that the fact that this game's story mode was rushed near the end to meet a deadline, and it probably explains why things like beam struggles aren't in the game. Ginyu Goku Oddity. Ginyu Goku Oddity is referring to the fact that Ginyu Goku, remember that Goku with a Scouter costume I talked about in Budokai 3? Well, that same costume is in this game. But what's more fucked up is the fact that Goku has a proper Frieza Saga outfit in this game, with his Go symbol and whatnot. So, technically speaking, that Goku with a Scouter should have gotten an updated costume. But no, he doesn't. He's still in his Cell Saga outfit. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, he's in his Cell Saga outfit when he has the Scouter on. In Infinite World, he is as well. And once again, it's his third costume that you can't select for some reason. They didn't even go through the effort of changing his outfit around. Say with me, supports the theory that the game was rushed. Though, that is pretty evident due to many problems with this game, like no beam struggles, the special saga cutscene shit. But it's a bad look, and it really sucks too that they still didn't make this costume playable. Can you imagine Super Saiyan 3 Goku with a Scouter? Super Saiyan 4 Majin Vegeta. Super Saiyan 4 Majin Vegeta is referring to the fact that you cannot put on Super Saiyan 4 Majin Vegeta. Even if you have Vegeta's transform capsule at level 4, if you put Babidi's mind control on, it would actually cap at Super Saiyan 2. This is the only time something like this happened. Even Frieza and Cooler with their spaceships get all their forms. Having Babidi's mind control on for Vegeta will actually make it so he can't transform into Super Saiyan 4. This is obviously so you can't transform into Super Saiyan 4 as Majin Vegeta, but Majin Vegeta can't transform. So why do they lock Super Saiyan 4 for Vegeta if he gets knocked back to base form to transform into Majin anyway, and Majin Vegeta can't transform? It doesn't make any sense. Gohan Costume 3. Gohan Costume 3 is referring to the fact in Budokai 2, Gohan had a costume, his Great Saiyaman outfit, where he's not Great Saiyaman, but he has the outfit on, the one he fought Dabura in, right? In Budokai 3, this outfit was removed, but in Infinite World is added back in for some reason, and it got some new textures. I don't know why this wasn't ported to Budokai 3, and why Dimps chose this costume specifically to port all the way to Infinite World from Budokai 2, but didn't port Demon King Piccolo from Budokai 3 in Infinite World when they had the model and shading and everything. I don't know, but I'm glad the costume's here because it's a badass costume for Gohan. Sin Shenron. Sin Shenron is referring to the fact that Sin Shenron is the only character in the game with no super attacks. Yes, Sin Shenron is actually a character in this game. In Budokai 3 it's Omega, but in this game it's Sin who transforms into Omega. But because of that, and because Dimps is Dimps, they didn't give Sin Shenron any super attack. If you play as Sin Shenron, even if you have all of Omega's super attacks equipped, you cannot use a super or ultimate until you transform. It should be noted Sin does start with 6 key bars, which makes him a very formidable foe. And when he transforms into Omega, he can't be knocked out of that form, which is nice. But it's so stupid how he can't use attacks like Whirlwind Spin or Dragon Thunder. I can kind of understand Whirlwind Spin, but why not Dragon Thunder? It's literally Sin's attack. Versus Random Secret. Versus Random Secret is referring to the game's Versus mode. Remember when I said you couldn't pick a destroyed stage? Well, that's not entirely true. If you pick random, there is a 1 in 15 chance you will get the destroyed archipelago, or you will get the destroyed urban area or destroyed Earth. Yes, you can actually get these stages from random, and this is what leads me to believe that was an oversight by the developers, is the fact you can't pick a destroyed stage. You can get the stages in the random slot. So if you really want to reenact a fight, you'll be recycling a lot, though you're better off just playing the story mission at that point because you get the infinite fusion and whatnot. Dragon Ball AF Goku. Dragon Ball AF Goku is referring to the game's costume for Goku, in which he has a very strange what-if costume. We all know Goku has a bunch of costumes in this game, right? He has his Cell Saga, his Buu Saga, his Halo, his Destroyed outfits, his Saiyan Saga, Frieza Saga, etc. However, for some reason, Goku has an outfit where he has a black overshirt and red pants. This doesn't appear anywhere in the series, to my knowledge. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but this Goku never shows up anywhere else. It's a really cool costume, don't get me wrong, but man, is it strange for it to be in this game. Final Kamehameha. Final Kamehameha is referring to a very, very weird thing in this game with Vegito. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 and 3, he actually has access to Spirit Cannon and either Gallic Gun or Kamehameha, depending on who initiated the fusion. In Infinite World, he actually gets access to Spirit Cannon and Final Kamehameha as a super attack of all things. Yes, the Final Kamehameha is in the game as a super, and it's only in Infinite World to my knowledge. I believe it's in Shin Budokai as well, though I could be wrong on that. Battle Damaged MV. Battle Damaged MV is referring to the game's story mode, and once again, the cutscene where he fights Buu. Vegeta once again has an unusable costume, and the fact that he's battle damaged. In the normal game, Majin Vegeta has no battle damage, minus Scouter Majin Vegeta with a broken shoulder pad. But in this cutscene, Majin Vegeta has a unique outfit on in which his clothes are torn a bit. In the game, you can't do this, and this one especially sucks, because Majin Majin Vegeta is one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters of all time. Dragon Rush Remnants. Dragon Rush Remnants is referring to the game's Patara feature. In Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, when you do the Dragon Rush, it has, you know, the unique HUD, right? And then in Budokai 3, if you do the Patara, it has the same HUD. What's weird though, in Infinite World, instead of creating a new HUD, they actually use the exact Dragon Rush HUD from Budokai 3. You might be thinking, why would they change it? Well, they changed the defense and offense meters HUD from Budokai 3 to Infinite World, where it says, instead of like attacker wins, it says offense wins and stuff like that, and it had like a more modern look. They didn't change the Patara HUD at all. It's still the exact same one from Budokai 3, which is the Dragon Rush HUD. This had me theorizing that Dragon Rush was cut out late in development, because of the fact that the ultimates like Warp Kamehameha were removed, but only very few ones like Special Beam Cannon and Final Flash were added back in. It's not concrete, of course, but it is a very fun thing to think about. Super Vegito Hidden Feature. Super Vegito Hidden Feature is referring to the fact that Super Vegito, not just the Final Kamehameha, but Super Vegito has a unique aspect to him where whenever he gets fatigued, he doesn't get sent back to base form. Every other Super Saiyan, including Super Saiyan 4s, gets sent back to their base form when they get fatigued. But Super Vegito, for some reason, doesn't have this problem. And he's a permanent character you play as. You don't have a timer with him, like, I don't know, Gotenks. So yeah, if you played Vegito, I guess there's an automatic win button. Super Vegeta. Super Vegeta is referring to the game's story mode, and the fact that there's a cutscene of Vegeta transforming into Super Saiyan against Cell Second Form. This is clearly meant to represent Super Vegeta versus Cell Second Form, but as we all know, Super Vegeta doesn't appear in any of the Budokai games minus Budokai 1. But in this cutscene, unlike something like, I don't know, Scouterless Vegeta and Battle Damage Majin Vegeta, they didn't even go through the effort of giving Super Vegeta a cutscene exclusive model. So you have Super Saiyan Vegeta performing all of Super Vegeta's animations, and it looks very cool, but it's kind of goofy at the same time. It's like, man, they really didn't do that? But, I mean, at least it looks awesome. Angry Kamehameha. Angry Kamehameha is referring to the fact that Angry Kamehameha is not an attack at all in this game. It is shown nowhere but the game's story mode, again in a cutscene. Unlike the Father-Son Kamehameha, which is used correctly in the cutscene, the Angry Kamehameha is only used in a cutscene. It is the only attack that is used in a cutscene that cannot be played in the original game. Majin Vegeta does the final explosion in the air in-game, but on the ground in the cutscene, which is canon, Goku doesn't have the Angry Kamehameha at all in the game. It's only in the cutscene. You can't use the attack anywhere, which really sucks. Angry Kamehameha is one of the coolest attacks in Dragon Ball. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Dragon Ball Z Infinite World Iceberg. I had a lot of fun making this. I recently been wanting to play a bit of Infinite World and, you know, go through the game again and, you know, explore the intricacies of the game and, like, what it did, what it didn't do, and shit like that. It was a very fun time, and I hope you guys enjoyed this Iceberg. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of the entries on this list, feel free to leave a comment. But guys, I'm all out of time for today. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.
Miscalculated. Kakarot doesn't have the strength left to use the Spirit Bomb.